Y'all, faith is a little different in your late 20s. Trust me. Come, come. My name is Ashley. I'm tired. And this is the Pink Sofa. Come sit with me, grab your blanket, all right? So, I just really wanted to kind of talk about my faith. Not just my faith, but just faith in general, especially when you hit your late 20s. Like, you're hitting this phase in life where you're just kind of like, okay, this is what society tells me I should be at right now, and this is where I'm at, and it's it's just the bridge to where they told us we were gonna be when we were in school is just like gone. It's non-existent. And not saying it's impossible, like, to own a house, to have that family, to have the white picket fence, and all that stuff like that. It's definitely possible. It's just that the timeline to get there is definitely a lot longer. And you start to feel like, especially now with social media, at least this was my thought anyway, you start to really just think like, you know what, like, am I doing something wrong? Am I failing? Like, I see people who are younger than me that are doing amazing, and I see people who are older than me that are doing amazing. But comparison really is the thief of joy. And these moments, they really teach you like, hey, look, you need to have a little bit more faith. Because if my life panned out when I was in my early 20s and I thought like, okay, I want my life to be like this, I want my life to be like that. If it panned out the way that I thought it was going to pan out by the time that I am now 27, it would not be good. I would be really, really upset, honestly, with how my life would have turned out. So one thing I will say is that, following your intuition, following God's plan, always, every single day, number one, always pray. Always pray when you wake up. I mean, I'm not gonna preach to you as to what it is that you're gonna do. I'm just gonna tell you what's working for me, right? And how my faith evolved, right? So now, as a 27-year-old and officially in my late 20s, I wake up every morning and I pray, because that is the most important thing, is for you to be connected with God, and for you to really just be able to basically don't take control over your life. Have God take control over that. You know what I'm saying? Like, when I was younger, I used to rely on just me. Part of it was just a defense mechanism. It was hard for me to trust a lot of people, especially just like after I turned 18. It was really, really hard for me to trust other people. And I would turn a lot to new age spirituality and everything else like that. And there's nothing wrong with it if you're watching and that's what you follow. I mean, cool, nothing wrong with it. I'm not going to judge you, but it just wasn't the right path for me. And I realized that obviously as I hit my late 20s, right? But everybody has their own journey to get there. And part of really being able to trust the Lord, trust God, is to have faith. And to let go of control. Remember how I said before, like, hey, look, like, it was kind of hard for me, like, not hard for me. I mean, I already knew by the time I hit like 24, 25, I was like, yeah, my life is not going the way that I thought it was gonna go. I also do want to mention, just gonna plug myself right in here, right? I already, by the time I hit 24, did everything that I wanted to do by the time that I was like 24. So I was kind of starting off on a clean slate by the time I hit my mid-20s. I was like, okay, well, what do I do now? So there's that. You could be successful without you having to have all the accolades, but you can be successful. I promise you. Society, it's a bunch of crap. Sorry. It's just like, it's a bunch of expectations, and the times are not matching up with the expectations. And so once again, not having a clear path is absolutely okay, but having faith in the plan that God has for you, that's what you need. That's what you need. It's okay for you to not always have a plan, and it's okay for you to not always just decide, hey, look, this is like, my life needs to be like this, that, and the third, because life it has a lot of tunnels, it has a lot of ups and downs, it has a lot of hills, it has a lot of everything, you know what I'm saying? So like, if you base your life just on a plan, it's not saying you can't have a plan, but for me, anytime I had a plan, God always redirected me because God knows what's best. So, number two, part of enjoying the journey, especially with everything that goes on, is that you have to enjoy the bad times as well. That's actually how you gain your strength. That's how you gain your faith. That's how you gain everything. Because you also have to remember that things are always going to work out in your favor. Even if it's not the way that you imagined it, even if it's not the way that you pictured it, I want you to think of it like this, right? Imagine you are at a place, you've been working there for so long, or you've been you've been in a relationship for so long, and really, and one part of you is satisfied, but the other part of you kind of is looking, is like, you know what, maybe I kind of just want more, you know, or maybe there may be something else out there for me. Even though that's something that you have been conditioned, at a certain point in time, it becomes conditioned, like, hey, look, I wake up, I go to this job, I do this, I do that, or I'm in this relationship, I'm with this person, I made this commitment, I did this, that, and third. But you still have that kind of feeling in the back, like, maybe there's something else, you know, maybe there's something better. That's kind of what I realized, is that kind of in between phase. That's what, for me, the late 20s is, right? Because you're old enough for you to really figure out what's going on with you, but you're still young enough to where you're like, okay, now it's time for me to make the certain decisions. Like the stuff that I was doing before, they're kind of not working out for me anymore. And you kind of, I'm not gonna say you have like a certain type of crisis, but you do have a little bit of a crisis. And that's when you're supposed to lean on God. That's when you're supposed to lean on what it is that you believe in, and that's when you're supposed to grow your relationship for real, because these moments are very pivotal to your future. You know, people, they say you're really supposed to, especially at this time now, you're supposed to build the foundation of your future, not the early 20s. Yes, you're supposed, like, certain things, yes, but you're gonna make a lot of mistakes. Your frontal lobe isn't even freaking fully developed. I mean, come on, man. So yeah, you're gonna make a lot of mistakes, but when you start to hit your late 20s is when you're really gonna be like, okay, maybe I should do this, or maybe I should try this. So if you're in your late 20s and you're watching this, just really just feel like, whatever you really feel like, you know what, maybe I should do this. Maybe I should try this new endeavor. That's probably something in your spirit just telling you, hey, look, this is the path that you need to go on. Okay? On to the next subject. And last but not least, which really honestly should be number one, which I probably already said before, but like for real, let God take the wheel in your life, right? Remember, we don't always know what life is going to offer us. And honestly, this advice is good for any age, for real. I'm just speaking specifically for where I'm at in my life. Just know that your walk with Christ is not easy. I mean, his own walk with the purpose that he was meant to do was not easy. I mean, he had to run away. He had to, you know, he eventually ended up having to sacrifice himself for us. So, I mean, let's really talk about it. I mean, let's talk about it. Matthew 16:24-25. Then Jesus said to his disciples, whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves and take up their cross and follow me. For whoever wants to save their life will lose it. But whoever loses their life for me will find it. So obviously he said to his disciples, he meant it in a literal sense. They didn't know that he meant it in a literal sense. And it's not, he really did mean it in a literal sense, but I also took it as well, and I interpreted it as, you know, like I said, this is all about faith, right? So I'm speaking about my faith. You have to give up the life that you had before in order for you to build the life that you want. And you have to have the faith that it's going to work out. Once again, let God, let the Lord, let Jesus, let them take over, please. Every day I want you to pray like, hey, look, God, if this is your will, then let it be your will. Trust God. Know that your late 20s, they're annoying, they're a weird time, but they're also a time for you to be explorative what exactly it is that you want to do. And also as well, have fun. Have fun. We're in our prime. You think that your early 20s was your prime? Wait until you're in your late 20s. Oh my gosh, I've never felt better, honestly. I'm really glad that I'm at this point in my life and that I have God and that I am able to really, like, I feel so free at this point in my life compared to when I was in my early 20s. I mean, I also was in my addiction in my early 20s, so I mean, that's a little bit different, but I felt so free. I feel so free. You're gonna realize that the partying and the going out and, you know, all this stuff. I mean, I'm literally in my pajamas. I just got off of work. I'm in my pajamas. I do not care. When you start to hit your late 20s, you no longer care. You don't care anymore. Like, you just don't care. Just like, you know what? All right. I'm not wearing makeup today. I'm not wearing my lashes today. I'm not. My hair is done because I'm doing stuff. But yes, you just no longer care. You don't care. And when you don't care, that's when you hit that point of freedom. And when you don't care in a good way, to where you're like, you know what? God, what you gonna do with my life? I'm gonna let you handle this, because if I handle it, it ain't gonna be good. That's when you know that you really have hit that point where you need to hit. So I'll leave you off with that. I pray that you give out the love that you receive, and I pray that you receive the love that God has for you, okay? I love you guys. Good night. And you probably won't see me for a week because it's the holidays and I need to catch up with some things. But yeah, you'll see me in the new year. So happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. If you do see me before the new year, welcome. If not, catch up on my stuff. I have about 8-9 episodes. This is the 9th episode. So I have 8 episodes that you can catch up on. Okay? There's a lot of messages. There's a lot of things that you guys can learn, okay? And then we'll reconvene. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.